Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So we are now 1 week into the NHL season. So I thought for Tier List Tuesday, I'm not going to do like a deep analysis of these teams, but I thought I would do a tier list on how every single fan base is feeling, because I feel like that's a lot easier to quantify compared to just 1, 2, 3, or maybe Devils have played like 5 games at this point. We're just going to look at every single team and how their fan base is feeling. So we have immaculate. These fan bases, they're either undefeated or they're young players are playing fantastic. They have immaculate vibes right now. Optimistic. They've had a pretty good week. We're okay. Really nothing changed. They went like 500. They're perfectly fine. Less than ideal, like losing record or maybe an injury happened. And then damn it is bad. Bad shit is going on right now. We need to correct the ship or else things could go awry pretty quick. Up first, not the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Chicago Blackhawks. I'm going to go with optimistic. Connor Bedard has looked good. Other guys like Tara Vinen have looked very good. They don't have the best record right now, but considering the fact that they're not expected to be some kind of playoff team, I think you're definitely optimistic as a Chicago Blackhawks fan. The Montreal Canadiens, I think you got to go with immaculate, even though they lost yesterday to fall to 2-2. You look at their young guys, Lane Hudson, Montembeault, Slavkovsky's point per game. Cole Caulfield has 4 goals in 4 games. It's pretty immaculate. The young guys are playing great. So even though they're probably not going to make the playoffs this year, the guys that you wanted to take big steps appear like they're taking big steps this season. So it's kind of immaculate. Toronto Maple Leafs, optimistic. You can maybe go, we're okay just because of the Wool injury, but Stolarz has been so good and has kind of made up for Wool dealing with these injuries. If Wool's injury lingers on further, then you might be starting to feel a little bit worse, but Stolarz looks like he was a very good pickup for them at this point. LA Kings, it's tough with the Drew Doughty injury. I'm going to throw them in, we're okay. Losing yesterday, the goaltending was very concerning, but they're about where they want to be as of right now. Minnesota Wild, I'm gonna go with we're okay as well. Matt Boldy is looking fantastic, looking like he is taking that next step, and they have like a 66% points percentage as of right now. Columbus, they dealt with a lot of injuries in the preseason. I'm gonna go with we're okay right now. They're 1-1. Yeah, not too much to talk about on Columbus as of right now. The Vegas Golden Knights, I think you got to go with immaculate. They're 3-0. They are a high-powered, high-flying offense at this point. And when you were looking at the weakness of this team, was kind of was looked at as maybe the wingers, and their wingers have really stepped up in a big way to start this season. So if you're a Vegas Golden Knights fan, you got to be pretty happy. Ottawa Senators, if assuming Olmark is not hurt seriously, I think you got to be optimistic with this start. You beat the Florida Panthers. Yes, you drop one to the Montreal Canadiens, but then you get a good win against the LA Kings in what was an absolutely maddening game. My New York Islanders, we're okay. You look at it, blowing that game against Utah was unacceptable. They did lose to Dallas 3-0, but Dallas is just like a far better team. But getting back on track with that Colorado win last night pretty handily, 6-2. We're okay. We're doing fine as of right now. The Seattle Kraken, I'm going to go with a little bit less than ideal. Not the best start for the Seattle Kraken, and they're a team that really needs to get out to a good start in order to potentially make the playoffs. Utah Hockey Club, it's pretty immaculate as of right now. Going back to like a Montreal Canadiens, you look at guys like Dylan Guenther, Logan Cooley taking that next step. Mikhail Sergachev looks like a true number one like he was, or he was like a 1B back in 2023, but he looks like he's fully healthy and absolutely balling out. You got to have immaculate vibes, and especially winning that home opener, franchise opener against Chicago Blackhawks, even though it was Chicago Blackhawks, and they showed some real heart against the New York Islanders. They beat the New York Rangers in a shootout. Devils game was a little bit underwhelming, but they kind of just ran out of steam on their East Coast trip. Buffalo Sabres, you got to go with damn it. They're not done yet. They're only 1-3, but the Prague games were a massive letdown considering the fact that they had Lindy Ruff behind the bench. You think Lindy Ruff, if he was equipped to coach against any team to start the season, it would be his former team, and they got outscored like 7-2. Not good right now for the Buffalo Sabres. Nashville Predators, I'm going to go with less than ideal. They're only 0-2 right now, and in their first game, they didn't have UC Saros. Getting shut out by Cam Talbot, not good, don't get me wrong, but I'm not ready to panic. They're not 0-3 or 1-3 like some other teams. The Carolina Hurricanes, less than ideal. 1-0 loss. Their underlying numbers were pretty strong in that loss, just didn't score any goals. It was a close game. They looked worse than it was with 2 empty netters. So it's less than ideal. It's probably more so we're okay. Not going to, no, I'm just going to go with less than ideal because they need to beat teams like the Tampa Bay Lightning if they're going to be an actual contender. Well, Tampa Bay is a good team, don't get me wrong. But San Jose Sharks, we're okay. You could go with I'm going to go with optimistic, considering Celebrini did look so good in that first game. He got hurt though, which definitely hurts. But guys like William Eklund, Will Smith have also looked very solid as well. You got to be pretty optimistic about the future. The future, not this season. They're probably still going to stink. The St. Louis Blues, I'm going to go with optimistic. They've had some pretty good performances. On top of the fact that the guys that they brought in, like Broberg and Holloway, have looked really good. Jordan Kyrou looks back on track after having a bit of a down year last season. I'd be optimistic, again, similarly to San Jose, not to the same degree. San Jose's going to be much worse. I don't think they're going to be that good at the team this year, but some of their young pieces and some of their young acquisitions are looking good to start this season. For the New Jersey Devils, I think it's got to be immaculate at this point. When looking at it, they did lose to the Toronto Maple Leafs, but they took care of business against Buffalo Sabres. Won, 5-2 against the Washington Capitals, and won against the Utah Hockey Club. Yes, they lost to the one team that we think we all agree is going to be a playoff team, but the fact they're taking care of those teams that are going to be battling for the wild card spots, that's what they didn't do last year, and the goaltending has been pretty solid thus far, so I think you got to be pretty immaculate if you're the New Jersey Devils, and you're winning these games without even Jack Hughes playing that great. You're getting contributions from guys like Stefan Nazin and Paul Cotter. Very encouraging. The Tampa Bay Lightning, you got to be optimistic. You beat a team like the Carolina Hurricanes are going to be at the top of the conference. You got to be optimistic. Only one game, though. When looking at the Philadelphia Flyers, I'll go with we're okay. I really don't think this team has that much expectations, and they've had an okay start. Same with the Pittsburgh Penguins. We're okay. We got killed by the New York Rangers, but then we bounced back the rest of the week. Vancouver Canucks, a little bit less than ideal, did blow that game against the Calgary Flames, but they're not in some massive hole like some other teams that we're going to get to, especially talking about the Edmonton Oilers. It's a damn it. The first two games, it was bad goaltending, but just in general, the goaltending is a question mark, so there is some concern there, but again, it was just horrible goaltending. That third game against Calgary Flames, there was some questionable calls, don't get me wrong, but they did not look that good. They need to get back on track. I fully believe that they will get back on track, but it's definitely damn it, we're really starting 0-3 after what we did last season. Come on. Florida Panthers, I'm going to go with less than ideal. They're 2-2 right now. They did beat the Boston Bruins twice. They lost to the Ottawa Senators. I'd just say less than ideal considering Barkov is now hurt. Kachuk's out a week with illness. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but they're going to be fine. The New York Rangers, optimistic. They're 2-0-1. Disappointed to lose a game against the Utah Hockey Club, but besides that, they really took care of business against two inferior teams with the Pittsburgh Penguins and Detroit Red Wings. So optimistic. Good start to the season. Guys like Lafreniere look good. You're optimistic. I wouldn't say you're immaculate as a New York Rangers fan, considering the fact you allowed 6 goals against the Utah Hockey Club, but it's definitely a strong start. Same thing with Dallas. They've taken care of every single game. They're 3-0. Some of these teams aren't 3-0. The Montreal Canadiens are 2-2, but Dallas did play. Nashville was a good win. My New York Islanders, they just took care of business, and they also beat the Seattle Kraken. I wouldn't say it's immaculate vibes for the Dallas Stars because they're expected to be a top 3 team in the entire NHL. And it's not like they beat this murderer's row in their first 3 games. So I might get some questions, some comments about that, but I'm sticking to it. Optimistic, good start. You're taking care of business. For the Calgary Flames, you got to have some immaculate vibes right now. You are 3-0. Still don't think they're a playoff team, but when you're seeing young guys like Connor Zary, Matt Coronado, Martin Pospisil, a really cool story like Justin Kirkland getting his first NHL point at 28 years old. Dustin Wolf looked really good in his first game. The vibes are immaculate. Again, they're probably not going to be a playoff team. They probably want a high draft pick this year, but as long as the young guys are looking good and Rasmus Anderson is pumping his trade value a little bit, you're definitely feeling good as a Calgary Flames fan. For the Boston Bruins, I'd be optimistic. It's definitely unfortunate to lose those 2 games to the Florida Panthers, but they're the Florida Panthers. On top of that, Elias Lindholm looks like he's living up to that contract. So I'd be optimistic. I wouldn't be over the moon. I wouldn't be immaculate by any stretch. You can maybe move them down to we're okay, but their 2 losses are to the Stanley Cup champions, the reigning Stanley Cup champions, and their biggest acquisitions did very good. Korpisalo was pretty shit, but Lindholm I'm more concerned with now that Swayman is back in the mix. Anaheim Ducks, less than ideal. When looking at it, they lost both games. Correction, Anaheim should be up a tier. I didn't realize that they beat the San Jose Sharks in that Saturday game. That's on me. Full hand up. Detroit, I'm going to go with less than ideal as well when you consider the fact that Ville Husso, it was as bad as you kind of expected, already got sent down. Cam Talbot showed that he can maybe carry the load this season, but it's still less than ideal to start 1-2 for the Detroit Red Wings. Colorado Avalanche, it's got to be a damn it considering just how bad that goaltending was. I think Georgiev's going to be able to put up $895 hockey. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to get back on track, but there's definitely question marks come playoff time. with their goaltending. What's their ceiling? So again, I'm not going to massively overreact because they don't have Lehkonen. They don't have Nichushkin. They didn't have Devon Toews last night. People don't realize that they're missing two 65 to 70 point wingers that are great both ways. Not going to absolutely panic, but the vibes and how they're feeling is definitely a damn it. Washington Capitals, less than ideal. Only one game. Lost to the New Jersey Devils. You kind of expected to lose that game. I'm not going to overreact to it. And then the Winnipeg Jets, I'm going to go with immaculate. They looked very good, undefeated at this point. Connor Hellebuck is balling out yet again. They had some good wins, and as a result, I think they deserve to be in that immaculate tier. But here it is. Here it is. Only three teams that I think are really like, shit, that was a shitty start by us. You can maybe move Nashville down considering they haven't won a game, but it's only been 2 games. And yeah, let me know in the comments, what do you think about this tier list? Who would you move up? Who would you move down? I'll be seeing you in the next one.